Hey ladies, it's Ariane with Bumps and Bliss, and I am going to do I've been wanting to do the fun parenting tab. I'm going to go ahead and do this, and I'm going to be honest, is pro-life versus pro-choice. Very opinionated about that one. I am pro-life. I am religious, and I have very, very strong beliefs about abortion. And I mean, obviously, I think abortion is horrible and wrong, and there is no real reason for abortion. Baby wearing. I am actually not pro baby wearing. I think that there are times where, you know, having a sling might be convenient if you're going for a walk or you're out and about doing something, but around the house, I don't really believe in baby wearing. And the only reason I say that, I mean, obviously I don't think that picking up and holding your baby is bad. I don't think that putting your baby necessarily in a sling is bad, but I do think that babies need to learn to be independent. And I think that from what I've seen, from the people who do baby wear, this is just from my experience, is they end up with very clingy babies that will not go to anybody else and have to be held all the time. And I have 2 girls, and I didn't baby wear any of them. And they were both very happy to just, you know, sit in a bouncer or lay on the ground and play with toys and interact with me when I came into the room, and when I played with them I was oftentimes holding them, and I nursed both of my children, but they didn't have to be held. They didn't have to be a part of my body all the time. They were very low maintenance in that regard, and it allowed me to do things and get things done and not have overly clingy, independent children or dependent children. And so my personal opinion is, if you're going to choose to baby wear your child, you now have to be prepared to have a very needy child. And maybe not everybody's child is like that from baby wearing. That's just from what I've seen. That's my experience from what I have seen. And having 2 children that I did not baby wear, that were perfectly content and happy children to not have to be held all the time, why would I not choose that? I am all for circumcision. My reasons for circumcising. If I have boys, they will all be circumcised. Their father is circumcised, and my main reasons are, obviously, first is aesthetic reasons, honestly, and I don't think that that's bad. My mother had a daycare, and she had boys in her daycare that were not circumcised, and they were, to me and my sisters who had to help change their diapers and help deal with them, it was very traumatizing. We were very traumatized by it. To me, it's not attractive. An uncircumcised penis, I mean, a penis by itself is not the most attractive body part, and just an uncircumcised penis, to me, it is not attractive in a way that I would not want to have a husband that was not circumcised. It would really bother. I don't know, just to me, it's not attractive at all. It's disgusting. And I was, I think, traumatized as a child because of these boys and things that they did, and I'm not going to go into it, but so that's the first reason. Second reason is, I had a friend who was a nurse, and she had circumcised her boys. She was a nurse, and she worked at an old folks home or I don't remember where exactly she worked, but she worked with a lot of disabled elderly men that could not take care of themselves, and she worked with a few of them that were uncircumcised. And she said that it was such a horrible experience for her and these elderly men that were not circumcised, that had to be cleaned by her because they could not do it themselves. And she said that not only was it really hard for her to do, it was really, it was disgusting, and it was just not fun. She felt really bad for those men who in their old age could not clean themselves and had to be humiliated to have somebody else clean them And she said it was really hard for them, and she felt so bad for them, and she would try as hard as she could to be gentle and thoughtful. But she said from that point on, just watching how humiliated those men were, she didn't want to ever have to put her boy through that. And there are hygiene issues with a boy that is not circumcised, and I just would never want to, I wouldn't want to deal with that. And also, I do think that it is important for boys to feel like they fit in, and so depending on what their family and their cultural background is, obviously, I mean, if you come from a home that nobody is circumcised and none of your family is and none of your friends are, that is gonna make a difference. I think what the father is does make a huge difference for that boy. Again, I don't think this is something that makes you a bad parent if you choose not to. I don't. I mean, I don't think it's that big of a deal, but to me, I prefer the hygiene issue of it, the cleanliness issue of it, and the attraction of it. So that's my opinion. My boys will be circumcised, and their father is, and I'm happy with that. So, adoption. But baby piercing. Again, I have 2 girls, and I did not get their ears pierced until they were 2 and 3. They said they wanted it, and I finally waited until they said that they wanted it, and went and got it done. And I don't know. I don't think there's anything. I got my ears pierced. My mother pierced my ears when I was 3. I don't think it's anything that's like wrong if you pierce your baby's ears. I don't think that's wrong. I think it's a personal choice. I don't know of any woman out there who has gotten mad at her parents for piercing her ears when she was a baby. So I don't view it as something that is really that the child would be mad at the parents for. But at the same time, for me, I don't find babies attractive if they have their ears pierced, because to have a baby, just in my view, to have a new baby that has like no hair or very little hair with ears pierced kind of looks like a boy with his ears pierced. So I kind of think it's cuter when they have like kind of some curls coming around their ears, and I don't know, I think that makes it a little cuter. But breast milk versus formula. I'm breast milk all the way. I breastfed both of my girls. It's better, and I think that it's better for a woman's body to breastfeed, and I don't know, it's so much better for the baby. Having said that, I didn't pump and store milk. I tried. I never made that much milk to where I could pump and store milk. So whenever I gave my sisters whenever I had a babysitter, I had no problem with my girls getting formula every once in a while. I didn't stress about it. It's not a big deal to me. Not a big deal at all. But yeah, I loved breastfeeding, so that was a really good experience for me. Spanking. I do believe in spanking, but I am definitely in moderation. I did spank both of my girls, and do to this day spank both of my girls, but it is always a last resort. They know it. They know the process that it has to get to where they've been warned, they've had a timeout, they're continuing to throw a fit, and they are out of control, and it will then resort to spanking. And it's very rare that it ever gets to that point, because I am very strict about timeouts, and I'm very strict about consequences being immediate, and they know it, and they react quickly. And so really, I think that if you can manage the behaviors, if you're on top of things, and you should be able to manage the behaviors before spanking becomes over abused. The other thing I will spank immediately on, without a warning and without a timeout, is certain behaviors of aggression. There have been times where my children have hit or pushed or bit, not a lot, but when it has happened, it has been an immediate bum swap. And it doesn't happen a lot, right? Right. That's beautiful. Oh, and he has black hair. Prince Eric has black hair. And the moon is yellow. You're doing a good job. Co-sleeping. Okay, this is an interesting one because this is one I am a little bit more, I'm a little more passionate about, which I'll explain why. I am actually against co-sleeping. And the reason for that has absolutely, well, very little to do with the baby. My girls, they slept in my room until they were probably 4 months old. I had a bassinet in the bedroom because I nursed. But, you know, I covered them up, and they were too young to really be aware of their surroundings, so that when I did move them to the crib in their bedroom, they didn't care. It wasn't a big deal. Again, it's sort of, to me, the same idea as baby wearing. If you co-sleep, from what I've seen, I see so many mothers that co-sleep and then have the problem of how to get the baby and transition them, or the kid at that point, to their own room, and the drama that follows, and the nights of restless sleep, and the wedge that it divides between the husband and wife. To me, that's not worth it. I believe strongly, more than it affects the child even, is that it affects you and your husband. And I just really believe that in all of that happens, and having a baby, and all that happens with your new life and all the chaos, there needs to be one sanctuary that the husband and wife know is their special area, is their personal, intimate area, that kids just don't come. We were not allowed to sleep with our mom and dad. And growing up, I knew my mom and dad loved each other, and that there were times where they needed to date and they needed to be alone, and they just needed to reconnect as a couple. And I think that is so vital, and I think parents need that. I don't know how parents that co-sleep have any sort of intimacy, or even just cuddle. That's what it should be about. I think that you can cuddle your baby all day long. Cuddle your baby, nurse your baby, hug your baby, kiss your baby, give your baby as much attention during the day. At nighttime, I think it needs to be your husband's time. I think there needs to be some part of your life where children just don't need to be there, and I think that is the bedroom. I think that's the bed. So to me, the bed, that should be the dad's time, where the dad knows that, you know what, I'm still your number one, and I think men need that, and I think women need that too. So those are my views on co-sleeping. But homeschools, public schools, private schools, chartering schools, honestly, I am pretty flexible about all of that. I will not do homeschool, not because I think it's bad, just for me personally. Vaccinations. I waited until they were 2 until I gave them their shots. And it was actually kind of nice because by the time they were 2, there were a lot of shots they didn't even end up needing. So those were my views on vaccinations. I think their bodies are just so little, and to pump that much junk in their systems kind of makes me sad. But at the same time, I can see how vaccinations definitely have their benefit, and so that was just my way of coming to a happy medium that I felt really good about. I do believe in medicating children. If they're sick or they don't feel good, give them some medicine. Heck, I'm not anti-medicine at all. So when it comes to cloth or disposable diapers, I am disposable diapers. I kind of thought about doing cloth at first with my first daughter, and when I priced it out, the diapers that we buy from Costco, the Kirkland brand, they were so cheap that in my mind I was like, you know what, I would rather focus my time on other things than having to worry about learning how to cloth diaper and spending the money on the cloth diapering. And I don't know, just it seems that was not something that was of any passionate interest to me, to cloth diapers. So I didn't have the passion to do it, and so we use disposables. But I think it's awesome that women use cloth diapers. It's just never been something that I've really felt passionate about. So cry it out method, we do the cry it out method at our house, but it was within reason. It was when they were of age, and it was only, I don't know, it depended on where they were at with their capabilities, and honestly, it was a very, very easy method to do. My girls both slept through the night very young. Okay, so those are my views on that, and I'm going to have a lot of editing to do in this video because I went way over 15 minutes. So anyway, I will see you girls in a couple days for my 28-week update. So.